States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any corrections to the minutes of the February 12th meeting?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a guest, Bill Craig
Pardon?
from the Cortland County Highway Superintendent.
Yes.
You want to say something to us?
Oh, well, I was asked by legislator Boyden
Okay.
to address a complaint of, stand up here, I guess.
That's your question.
Oh, yes, I have some questions.
Yeah, I think it was primarily about the snow removal
Right.
on state
On
highways.
Route 11 and
Right.
281.
Right.
From Portland County, right to Onondaga County line, we get very poor service, rotten roads. And you hit Onondaga County, the roads are bare.
Mhm.
And earlier this month, on February 2nd, I took my son to the airport. I went down Route 281, excuse me, all the way down. It was snow covered and all. Okay, I went the back way to the airport. I was at the airport about an hour and a half. I come back up 13. They were bare all the way until I hit Cortland County line. Then it was just two past where the tires were, all the way until you got to 81. North, it was lousy. The next day, I went to Cortland. They were lousy up this way. I hit Route 41 in the town of Homer. Roads are bare all the way down through. I cut through the city, which they weren't good. I got over on 13. They were bare all the way down as far as I went, which was in Hopeville. Come back up. They hadn't even touched neither road, 281 or 11. You go to the Onondaga County line, they're bare. Don't they believe in salt up this way?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I can, oh, right.
Then, this last week, on the March 2nd, both, Friday, the roads were lousy up this way. Snow covered, you're flip-flopping all over. Route 13 was bare. You got the Onondaga County line, you can see where the snowplow had been out. This last Friday night, it started snowing. I went out about 5 o'clock. It was snowing pretty hard. Okay, I come back and there was snow probably a foot deep on all the roads. And they were lousy. You couldn't even pass. You had to go real slow. The plows hadn't even been out between 5 and 10:30. What's the matter? Don't we get any service up this way? We pay taxes, and I'm not the only one. And then there's a saying by this company owner. He owns the company. He said, if you are here just to get a paycheck, go to Cortland County Highway Department. If you want to work here, you're going to work, not goof off like you do in Portland. And then in the summertime, the same way. They start a job at 7:30 and they don't actually start until 9 o'clock. They're there about 1 hour. They got to go coffee break.
Okay, I can take one at a time. Okay, let me first address the snow.
Mhm.
Okay, and it's true, especially when we had that really cold stretch this year, in February. And first of all, we have been spraying a lot of salt. Okay, just for an example, January and February this year, I've gone through 2/3 of my overtime for the year because they've been out with the trucks.
But not in trouble.
Well, let me respond in total. And we've been putting salt down as we plow. Okay, we have 12 plow routes and we have 12 trucks that go out and do each of the 12 plow routes. This year when it was like really cold, right, we had a week and a half, where it didn't hardly got more than, 10, 15 degrees in the daytime and it got colder at night. The salt doesn't work very well in those cold temperatures. And we only had the salt that it's the sodium chloride, the stuff we get mine from Cargill. The state has something called clear ice, okay? And that has, I believe, calcium chloride mixed in with it. And that melts at a lower temperature than just regular salt. So the county didn't have that. You have to pre-order that stuff. Like we pre-order our regular salt before the winter season, because if you don't pre-order it, there's no guarantee you're gonna get it. So you're right. There was roads during that time where our salt just wasn't melting it, So we met with the DOT about this exact problem. And they said, okay, we will, for the rest of the season, when situations require it, we'll let you come down to our facility and get some of this clear lane. Is that what I call it? Clear lane is what it's called. So we said, okay. So that's one problem. So what we're going to do next year, just to make sure that something like this, I mean, in the past, we never, at least I've only been here for 3.5 years, but the people that have been working at the highway department, for instance, my assistant highway maintenance supervisor has been there for 24 years. He says he's never seen anything like this happen before. But anyway, what we're going to do next year is we're going to pre-order 5,000 tons of clear lane. Okay, so we'll have that, and if we don't use it, great. But if we need to use it, we'll have it. And then if it gets really bad, you can put it all 100% on the roads. If it's not horrible bad, you can mix it 50-50. Okay, so we're going to be ready for that. We're going to order 5,000 tons, and just in case. So if we run into something like that again next year, we'll be better prepared for it. The second thing is we were using Blockbuster plow blades. Okay, and what those do is under normal conditions they work fine. They have a wider chew under the blade, so the blade lasts longer. But in cases like this, when the stuff, that stuff really adheres to the pavement, it really isn't the best thing for it. So we're switching the blades over to they're called razor blades, razor plow blades, and those give more pressure on the pavement and scrape better. So that's the other thing that we're doing. So I agree with you. This year was a tough year for us, and again, it wasn't that they weren't out plowing, and it wasn't that they weren't out salting. Believe me, because I can show you the salt tickets how much we spread this year. So I understand what you're saying. I agree with you. I can't undo what was done, but we will. In the future going forward, we're going to be making adjustments so that problem won't happen. And does that kind of answer the snow issue for you?
There's a lot of times they could go out with a snow plow and put the plow down. They turn around and the plow is up, but their wing, they bend it right down. It goes right up this road here. They have the wing way down and it's digging up the mud and the road is not down far enough.
So you're saying the front plow isn't down with the
Wing up
wings?
a little bit too, because we don't need our lawns all tore up by the wing.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And like I say, if we, through our plowing, there's some damage to any lawns, or things of that nature, give me a call. Because we'll go out there in spring. Obviously, we can't do it when it's still winter time. In spring, we'll come out there and we'll do repairs. But you're right, it shouldn't happen in the first place, but sometimes things like that do. But
Every day they went by this winter,
right.
they
But if
dug up the gravel on the
But
side.
if the front of your property, your lawn or something is damaged, give me a call. Okay, and we'll take care of it in the spring. Okay. The second thing you said about
Employment.
yes, well, okay, say if you don't want to work hard, go to Cortland County. Why do you say that? Whoever says that doesn't know what they're talking about.
This is bullshit. Two guys, or you had a truckload of people set for 2 hours down on Bentley Road or Bennett Howell Road there when they're supposed to be filling patches in today. Period. You gotta go home and fire every one of them, but you won't.
Well, this is the first time hearing of it.
Well, you still won't fire them anyway.
Well,
Who was in the truck? There was a whole load of trucks, and they
Well, you
went
tell
right
me-
down the road.
you tell me where it was. and
They
where.
come up over.
I'll look into it.
They come up over Song Mountain Road,
Song Mountain
which I don't believe you even built this year. What a joke that is. They come down Tisco Valley Road, and then they turn down Williams Road, and they stayed down there for 2 hours.
You stayed at where?
down on Williams Road, down on the back part.
Okay.
Probably around the corner of Bennett Howell and Williams Road.
Okay.
They were down there 2 hours, just resting. Then they decided to come up and miss all the holes on the way to Preble. So
Okay.
don't tell me they needed 2 hours to
No, I
rest.
can't speak to this specific because I'm just hearing about it now. But-
And then the other thing is, you built Song Mountain Road, and you built the other one. They're falling apart. What a joke. You should have hired somebody that knows how to build roads.
Okay. Well, I can go into a whole thing about the roads we did last year if I have the time. I don't want to take up too much of you.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. What happened is we got the asphalt zipper last year. Okay. What we would do is we would get the roads ground by contracting it out. Okay. By getting this pavement grinder ourselves, we would save $92,000 a year. Okay. The piece of equipment cost, I think it was $183,000. Okay. So in about 2 years, it would pay for itself. All right. Now the problem is, and again, it's the first time we used it, and we did it, and there was some things that we're going to do different this year. We're going to repair these roads, by the way, okay, that we did last year. But there's a few things that we're going to do different this year. One thing, what we did is we were putting gravel down. We bring 4 inches of gravel before we grind everything up. We put the gravel down, and we let it sit too long before we came back and ground it. Okay, so that created some problems. You lose the fines and things like that. So what we're going to do, there's a lot of things we're going to do, but the main things is we're going to, put the gravel down and grind it the next day. Okay. We're also going to be using calcium chloride in the mix, which does 2 things: keeps the dust down, and 2 gives it stabilizes it better. All right. So those are two biggies we're going to do. And the third thing is, last year I think we were too aggressive on trying to get 3/4 of a mile a day. This year we're going to look at a half mile a day, and it's going to take us as long as it takes us, and we're not going to be predetermining how long it has to be because every road's different. Song Mountain Road was a horrible road. It was so hard underneath that we were chewing up teeth and everything. It just was one of those roads that it just had a really, really tough slag or something underneath there, and it made it a tough road to go. I think the other side of the road, half of it was kind of these repairs. The other half wasn't as bad.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, but what we're going to do is say, okay, the roads we did, we're going to go out there once winter's over. It's a tough winter, with the freeze and the thaw and freeze. It's been a really, really bad winter. I mean, just go through the city of Portland, look at the potholes. I mean, I don't have to tell you that. Everywhere the potholes are really bad. So these roads are in worse shape than they normally would be if we didn't have such a bad winter. We're probably going to get more money from the state because the winter was so bad. So that's a good thing. But we're going to go through and we're going to repair those roads and, probably do the oil and stone sooner, just to make sure that we have those roads properly. But I think what we're, this year, the change we're going to make, is going to be an improvement. At least that's my hope. And we'll see how it goes. So I would just say be patient, see how it goes this year.
So you wasted all this money and you gotta go back and do it
Not
again.
really. Not really. Because in the past, and again, like I said, my assistant highway maintenance supervisor was doing 24 years, and he told me, and also too, I can see when I first got here, we would do roads, grind it, right? And we come back the next winter. I'm sorry, we'll go through winter. We come back the next summer, and we spend $150,000 hot patching the roads we just did, and then do another layer of oil and stone on. So repairing roads that we had just done the previous summer is not that out of the ordinary. So, but the plan was that we wouldn't have to do that, and I still think that we can do that. So anyway, we're not wasting money because, like I said, one, we saved $92,000 doing our own grinding, and second, we're not, it's a wash as far as going back and repairing it because that's what we typically would have to do anyway in the past. So I'm just saying that we're not. Go ahead.
No, you can finish.
I'm just saying that, it's not, I don't believe it's costing the county any extra money, okay, even with repairing the roads we did. I really don't, because we'll just do some hot mix repairs on it and then do some oil and stone on it, which is what we used to do in the past anyway.
So you got the Atisco Valley Road. All you do is tear our trucks apart going up and down that. I mean, I don't know. You half fix the shoulders when you come up through. You put a little patch of blacktop here, and then you let it go out. I think you do it just enough to get the paint on the road so it looks good.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of roads in the county that have been neglected over many, many years, okay, many years. And the roads, believe it or not, at least at what I'm standing and driving, and for the guys in the, they are improving slowly, but they are improving. It takes years because they've been neglected for many, many years. You know, they just haven't been done properly. So it takes time. So you're right. There's roads out there that, hey, how come this road's not being done? Well, because I got 6 other roads that still have to be done. You know, maybe they're worse or whatever. So we're going to get to them, but you just ask you to be patient because I don't have the money budget. They cut my budget 10% this year from last year. I have $500,000 less dollars this year than I did last year. Yes, sir.
So, Phil, just out of curiosity, because it'll kind of tie into here, because you have the county. I forgot how many roads.
248 miles.
240 miles. So I think one of the problems that we start seeing is county residents and stuff is how do you guys take a look and categorize these roads and say, this is a priority, this isn't. And when you're looking at towns and stuff, do you take a look at the towns and try to kind of share the wealth?
Right. Well, what we do is, you know, the way we look at roads obviously is the condition of the road. You know, it's obviously plays a big part. To the vehicles, the traffic volume. You know, the more traffic, the higher the volume, that gets a little higher weighted than a road that, you know, has 200 cars a day type of thing. So those type of things, you know, weigh into it. As far as moving around the county, the problem with doing that, do half mile here, do a mile there, do a 3/4 mile, do half a mile, you're all over the place and it's very inefficient as far as, mobilizing. So what we try to do is we try to say, okay, we're going to do a bunch of roads. Let's try to make it kind of this year, make it more, like the southern part of the county or maybe the northern part, but they're not all over the place. And then we would move year to year and do different roads that way. So it's really it's like a formula, but it's also what roads make the most sense to do so that we're efficient in doing it. So we're not wasting time driving all over the county for small sections of road. That's really, how it is. And what we'll do is on our website, if you look at the road, the 10-year road thing on the website, that's old. That's, don't pay attention to that. We're updating that now. So we're going to be, putting some, it's on about 8 different colors. I mean, that was up there before I got here. So we're going to update that. So we'll show you, the roads that we're anticipating. Now, remember, you can't really tell today exactly what you're going to do 5 years from now, So it's subject to change. Some roads will deteriorate at a faster rate than others. But right today, we'll put down, okay, these look like the roads we're going to do. And every year it'll be revisited and maybe tweaked a little bit. But at least I'll give you a sense of what we're looking at doing. So stay tuned. That's going to be up on the website soon.
Thank you.
So you're like doing one road. You're not doing part of the road here at the same time, that road over there.
Yeah, we'll try to do, if a road is like, I know in the past they would do a section of a road and then another section of a road. If the road is pretty much in the same condition, we would rather do a longer stretch of the road. Now unless one section of the road is in good condition because it was done recently and the other road's bad, we won't do a good section. But if the whole section is like pretty not so good, then we'll try to do more of a continuous road into just little spot areas. If that makes sense.
What I'm getting at is before they were doing Stager Road, doing East Homer. They'd work today up there and then bring all the equipment down and work over there. The next day they'd take it over to Toll Brook Road.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked, why don't you do it the whole road at one time?
Mm-hmm.
And it was told to me by one before you that we can't put all the equipment on one road. We don't have enough space. That made a lot of sense to me when you have to cart the road back and forth.
Right.
Then another thing, how much time do they get to have a break in the morning?
There's a 15-minute break about halfway through the morning and about a half-hour lunch and then about a 15-minute break in the afternoon.
They take more than a half an hour break. It's up here to Maravidos, went up through, they were there for 45 minutes. Because I went to Tully and come back, I checked.
Was that around
Then they come
noon time
out
or so?
and drove down with a plow up in the air.
Well, if you see something that you don't think looks right, give me a call. Absolutely, give me a call.
Nobody will answer the phone, then
I'll
if you
answer
call
the
it, you get the secretary and they say, yeah, we'll transfer it on.
Well,
You
well,
know?
what happens is you tell them if you have a problem like this. I'm talking about. I'm not saying like, hey, I got potholes up here, fix it. That'll go to the. No. I'm saying that will go to as a complaint, and it'll go to the highway maintenance supervisor. Okay, but if you're saying, hey, there's people out here and they've been here for an hour and they're not doing anything, then you say, I'm gonna talk to Phil Craig. Okay.
Does anybody go out and check on them?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, they're putting the bridge in down here. They had a picnic table down there and a grill, and they'd sit there and all day long and do nothing. Because I lived right
Well,
close, and I could
when
tell
was that? When was that?
That was this, not just recently.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, the
And I
same crew you got there
And I
then,
would
you
ask
got
you-
now.
I would ask you, I can't speak for the previous highway, highway superintendent, county highway superintendent, but, like I said, I've been here for 3.5 years, so I'll take responsibility for 3.5 years and forward. And if you see something like that, let me know. What happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I can't speak
No,
to
but
that.
that's still
I
the
haven't
same
seen any change.
employees, what I'm saying.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Let me know. If you see something out there that doesn't look right, give me a call,
Okay,
because I would appreciate it, because that, eyes out there I can't be everywhere, right, at once. Give a call.
you'll hear from me.
Absolutely,
Phil?
absolutely.
Briefly.
Phil,
Yes, sir.
I met with Don Boyden last year on the north end of Atisco Valley Road.
Okay.
And he said that it was that the road you did last year, the one that Tom was talking about with all the holes in it,
So I'm,
was first, but then this year you're planning on doing the north end of Atisco Valley Road. Is that correct?
no, I don't believe so. I don't believe we're gonna grind it. We're gonna probably do some repairs on it, some patching but I don't get scheduled, not for grinding, not for a full rehab or anything, I don't think. But we're definitely gonna be going through and looking at for,
You're gonna hold off till you learn how to do it right before you do that? Is that?
no, we're gonna look and I have to see where Atisco Valley Road is. I can't tell you offhand what year.
And you're the highway
I
superintendent?
don't have them all memorized.
You met with my brother up there, we had to scream to get the ditches cleaned, and we finally did. It should have been done a long time ago.
Well,
And now I got an excavator in there because you guys are not gonna clean it up through far enough so the water comes, it'll still come down and go across the roads over at the field, so.
as soon as I heard about it, I was out there meeting in the field.
So
And you
Dan,
can see
you
on
told
the other
me
side of the
last
road.
year, we're gonna do that this next year. What's the change?
I don't know, that
Phil?
was my understanding.
So you need to wrap it up. so
Okay,
you're-
well, I'm
I'm just working on it
Fine.
this year.
I'm finished. Thank you for your time.
Yep, no problem. Thank you. We appreciate you coming.
Thanks, Phil.
We better get out of here, Brad. We listen to politicians.
Okay.
Thanks.
We have some committee reports. Jane?
Dog control. One dog running at large picked up and returned to the owner. 95 miles traveled for the town. Justice report. $14,649 submitted to the town for February.
May I, clarification if I may, I apologize. They were just telling me, I said I didn't know where Atisco Valley Road is. I said I didn't know where it is on the rehabilitation list, what year it's gonna be done. Please, I know where Atisco Valley Road is.
Jeff,
We'll
highway
find a record
report?
on that.
Got one something problem solved. You got the highway report on freshening up the grant application for Prairie Road culverts. Played pretty high on that last year. I'm hoping to be able to do that this next year. Advocacy Day was last Wednesday. They got canceled. One of the few times that they canceled the session in Albany, so that our information got to the senators and the assemblymen, but we weren't out there as we normally would have been. The pedestal damage, Nymer rejected that claim down. I talked to the lady from Nymer who cited a specific section of law that basically says that we're not liable for that. she was gonna send it on to the Verizon.
Beautiful.
Okay,
Thank you.
bring that up to date. And then later on, we need to re-sign the contract with the county we talked about. Okay.
Okay, recreation, she had to run out to the fire. County legislator, Don, you got anything for us today? Besides Brittany, and thank you for bringing Phil.
Well, you're welcome. And if you see highway guys sitting around, okay, if you can't get a hold of Phil, give me a call and I will certainly follow up on it. To address the Tisco Valley Road and when it was gonna be done, it was my understanding that it was on the list for 2018 or 2019. I will check into that and I will find out absolutely when they plan to do that, okay? Other than that, the only other report that I have, so not take up a lot of your time tonight, is that, I don't know if you all know or not, I am chair of the Solid Waste Committee. It has to do with the landfill. We are looking into the recycling and where we can cut costs there, whether we can do it cheaper ourselves or whether to continue going the way we're going. There may be some changes that'll be coming up here shortly. We're gonna look at the e-waste. It's costing us a lot to get rid of it right now. So we may be addressing that problem here very soon. Okay, and I guess that's all I have to report to you quickly tonight. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to take them.
You're looking at more about the recycling, sorting the stuff before it gets there?
Possibly doing a sort and not doing a single stream. Or we may just do a pre-sort, what you call a pre-sort, and still single stream it. I don't know. We're looking at all options to see where we can cut these costs. The deficit is way too much for running that recycling center down there. You know, when you're talking about $400,000 a year in the red, that's not good.
The Asher trash is a dead issue.
There's nothing ever a dead issue. It could be brought back up, I suppose. You got to have a legislature that has the will to do that. That's the big part. That may come back up again. Ash recover may come back up again. That's
Does
not
the
dead
flow
either.
program come back up?
It could. Yeah. So, but we got to do something.
Yep,
If
yep,
you
I
want
hear
to
you.
cut your taxes, we have to do something with our revenue source.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Zoning and code, one building permit issued, 78 miles traveled for the town, 14 building inspections, 28 hours worked, 1 fire inspection, 7 complaint follow-ups in the trailer parks, 22 telephone inquiries. Planning board meeting is March 28th, 7 o'clock. That's a Wednesday. ZBA meeting is April 5th, 7:30, and that's a Thursday.
The historian, Ann Henderson's not here tonight.
We collected $2,206.44, dispersed $2187.44 to the town of Preble, and $19 to the New York State Egg and Markets. As tax collector, to date, we've collected $1,572,577.33.
Unfinished business, the highway garage.
It's getting closer. I knew that when we wrote that spec, we were going to do a lot of the work, painting, caulking, a lot of the small work inside. So that's when we're not out playing in the snow and fixing equipment. We've been working on that to try to get that wound down. So it's getting there. Yes, that's about it. It's It's all the little things that seem to slow things down.
The solar moratorium. Think we should vote on it tonight?
That's up to you. And those that are here.
Yeah, wait for a full thing, and probably this could be as full as we're gonna get.
Yeah, I
We
think
might as well vote.
we might as well vote on it.
Just to refresh everyone's memory, we've had a draft moratorium that we've had in front of us for 3 or 4 months. We referred to county planning, went through that.
Did they approve it without change?
I believe that is the case.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about either accepting or rejecting their change.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Right there. Yeah, so,
I'm looking
yeah,
to put a 6-month moratorium on solar.
yeah, you need someone to make that motion
It's on
and
the
vote on it?
commercial. So it's as we wrote it, right?
Right.
That's correct.
Mhm.
Okay. So I move that we pass the 6-month moratorium on solar as previously discussed and with the public hearing which was held.
Right, so it's moratorium on non-residential, freestanding, or ground-mounted solar energy systems.
You have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So then what we do is we file this with the Secretary of State, and the 6 months will start up this week.
Perfect.
New business, monies received, $75,000 in sales tax, $4,499.13 for county snow plowing, and $1,771.89 from nets. The snow plowing contract with the county,
A resolution for that,
Jeff, do you know what the terms are?
5-year extension of the current contract.
how do you feel about that, Jeff?
Yeah.
Well, we could have done this when Phil was here, but if we don't sign, I kind of lose what I call some leverage. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I believe that's part of the reason why Song Lake Road got done this year from Crossroads South. Because I put the arm on them to, if you want to keep plowing, you got to take care of it.
Right.
Now, what was done is what was done, but I mean, as far as if we don't have that contract with them, I don't think we have any leverage to try to get these other roads. Tully Center Road is in terrible shape. It's, it's round.
Mm-hmm.
You can't scrape it good. So, and it's a 5-year contract, but there are ways out of it if we, if they fall down. I'd asked originally for a 2-year extension, and he wouldn't do that. So I guess we look at it reverse and say, okay, we go with 5 years, and if we don't like it in a year or two, then we back out of it. But like I say, if we're not even at the table if we don't have that contract trying to get these other roads. Traditionally, and it's not just in Preble, the roads that the county plows, that the towns plow don't get taken care of as well as the ones that the county does. When they can do 25, 28, 30 miles an hour plowing a road, they can cover more road, they can take over more state roads, they can, it's all math, okay? It's all how they try to balance the budget. They can leave us bouncing around down the road at 16 or 18 miles an hour and pay us the same amount, then that's why they don't, I know it. I mean, like I say, it's all the towns, not just us. To answer, that's how I feel. I think we need to be at the table to try to put the arm on the county, get some of these other roads fixed.
So we need a resolution to continue the county plowing for the county for the next 5 years.
So what you're saying is that if we don't sign the contract, they're not going to worry about our roads as much. Kind of what you're saying.
that's the way it feels, Dave. You know, when you've done it for a
Yeah.
while, you kind of, that's the pulse. I won't I'll take exception to say I don't have any proof of it, but it's, that's the general, you know, when you look around, the only reason they take the state roads over, and your mother alluded to that, it's for the money, okay? They don't put any money into them. They just get the money from the state to plow them, or say they're plowing them, and then they are what they are. There's nobody sitting in this room that'll say that 281's being taken care of as good as it was 8 or 9 years ago when the state was plowing it. So, you know, but, and to the reverse part of that, Dave, to be honest, okay, if the county had to plow some of those roads, then whether they'd fix them or not, I don't know. But we're away from the table at that point. I'm just,
Like I said,
I think we have a little better chance if we're at the table than if we're sitting back watching, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we can follow a contract if
Right.
we can get out of
That's
it.
the out.
I mean,
The county's got about 7 different ways to get out of the contract. We have 2. But, you know, it is what it is. And Don and I, 5 years ago, when we initially got into this contract, Preble has the best contract in the county, because we picked it apart and they signed our contract. We didn't really sign theirs per se. And right in our contract, nobody else is in the county does it say that the county will maintain the road at or better condition than at the time of the signing. And Don and I got that in there. So, you know, right, wrong, or indifferent, it does give us a little bit of, okay, you're not doing it. And that's what I told Don, or excuse me, Phil, when it came time to renew this. He says, that road's in a lot worse shape than it was when we signed it last year, and you haven't done anything with it. So they tagged it. Song Lake Road wasn't on their original list. Song Mountain Road was. But we all know the Wookies up past Pete's Barn, you know, they're gone. See how the road looks in the spring. But valid point, Dave.
what's that?
It's a valid point you bring.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can pull out. I mean, because, well, we're not going to do it. They're all good. So I can't go, well, bullshit. We pay county taxes, you know.
And the first year that we were doing their roads, we busted the rear springs out of the back of a truck. Okay, well, if you put $5,000 worth of parts in a truck, kind of takes the cream off the top of the contract.
Yeah.
Right.
And I told them that. I says, if we never broke a spring in a truck plowing before until that year when we took over their roads. Normally you go down Song Lake Road, everybody does it, kind of pick the best parts of the road. But when you got to plow that road and stay over hitting the bumps, you hammer stuff pretty hard. So.
Thanks.
So we have a motion to sign the contract with the county.
Make a motion for the snow plowing contract to continue for 5 years.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any public comments? Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know if you know me. I'm Kevin Fitch, Town Supervisor of Scott.
Okay.
And I have to say with the plowing contracts, I mean, we all go through the same thing. And I do believe that the municipalities, when we start doing these plowing contracts, need to come together and kind of like discuss or arbitrate at the same. Because I do not believe that we get paid per center line mile the same throughout the county and municipalities. And I do know, like with Cortlandville, is that, you know, they're a bigger municipality, more power. And I bet you dollars to donuts that they pay them more than we. So we are, you know, the town of Scott does want to work with other municipalities to kind of look at it and see what's going on. We never knew anything about that we're kind of able to put more into the contract to benefit us, because if you look at the contract, it's way weighted for the county and it's not weighted for us. And we're actually doing them a favor by plowing these roads that town of Scott, we're already going over them, to get to our own roads. But they would still have to come out, you know, and do that. So we would like to work, you know, with the municipalities just to come together, kind of compare, to see where we are, because I do believe that does give us a little bit more bite for what they would have to pay. And we do have to say, for what we do, we don't get a lot of road repairs about, even on the stuff that we plow, but we do have repairs. And for us, we get 39,000 a year to plow. And, you know, when you're starting to deal with repairs, you know, for these, sometimes it washes, sometimes it doesn't. It does pay for our salt, you know, so it is a benefit to us. But I think that we could be doing better when we get paid centerline mile, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the state pays them 2 miles on each side. I don't think they give them a centerline mile. And I want to say that they're over $7,000, like $7 or $8,000 that they get, and they're giving us 3. You know, so they are making out pretty good for what they're doing. And then the only other comment that I wanted to make as well is just to let everybody remember, for the boards, I've talked to Jim, is that we do have that sales tax contract that's coming up here this year. So it was in the newspaper that the county legislators were creating this very cohesive subcommittee. In the newspaper is not always right, that it was also to involve municipalities. So when our legislator came, we had asked them at our last meeting. He said no, because it's just for legislators. And it kind of was like a little salt in the wound here, because we know what they're trying to get more revenue to pay for other things and stuff. So here at the last week, we don't have it firmed up, but I've been emailing everybody, all supervisors and stuff, that we're going to be hosting at the end of this month, all municipalities, supervisors, mayors, to come to the town of Scott. And then we're having our own meetings that are set up for this negotiation. And I think this will be the first year through this contract negotiation that it will actually be a negotiation. We don't want to hurt the county, but we do not want to falter either in giving them really what we all have in our budgets and stuff, because I know the town of Scott could not get rid of, you know, $270,000. We would actually have to raise our sales tax or our property tax by $4.50 per thousand if they took it. And we know right where the issues are that they're looking at, you know, the jail and all that stuff. So be prepared when you see the emails coming around, and it's for everybody, that, you know, in the government and stuff, that we want that input from municipalities so that we can start this sooner than later, because it's going to creep up. Next thing we know, like we did the last contract, was we sat in the planning, county planning committee room, and they told us what it was. And the only other 2 groups was Cortlandville and the city. It was Cortlandville, the city, and the county were the only 3 people that were on that negotiation table. And we just can't have that, because the outlying municipalities are going to hurt, and they're going to hurt bad if they start taking this away. So that's it. That's all my only input.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Need a motion to approve.
Wait a minute. Dave,
Oh, sorry.
you gonna get and say something?
No, I'm not.
Oh, Mike is?
Okay.
We met with code enforcement officer Rick Fritz, and we're planning on putting in a manure lagoon over by the dairy on West Bend Hollow. And we met with Rick, and he signed off on it, saying there's no other permitting required other than actually no additional permits required. So in a sense, we don't need a permit. So, but we're working with Soil and Water. They sent paperwork up here to get have the code enforcement officer look at it. But that's our intent, is to put that manure pit in starting this spring
Where's it gonna be?
on West Bend Hollow,
Right behind Dave's house?
across the street from Dave's. Yeah.
Just can't get away, can you?
So if anybody has any questions or on whatever.
Yeah, we'll have drawings and paper. Anybody wants anything, we can have it. I mean, we can have a meeting, we can do whatever you want. But don't get in your head, you can stop it. You cannot stop it. We've been through it last year, and but if you want to work together, whatever you want to say about it, we take into consideration, but it cannot be stopped.
How many gallons?
9 million.
Over 9.
It'll have to be lined,
Lined,
concrete bottom and lined walls. And the advantages of, for us and for the roads we're talking about, is it should be a lot less beating on the roads with trucks, because we'll be able to drag line this out of that lagoon now. So it should be a lot less traffic, all less winter concerns with running mirror in the winter and all those kind of things.
So what's that do? Allow you to store it all winter long and then spread it when the conditions are right? That's
it's the new DEC regulations require we cannot spread in the winter under if there's 4 inches of snow or 4 inches of frost, and so now you have to have storage facilities for that. So that was one of the reasons we put one in Lafayette and a satellite pit up there, and then we put a big lagoon in here.
All right.
Okay. I guess we gotta approve the general and highway bills.
Make a motion to pay highway vouchers abstracts numbers 3, numbers 13 to 16, totaling $2,854.12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who's gonna do the general fund vouchers?
I'll make a motion to pay the general fund vouchers abstract number 3, numbers 50 to 68, totaling $7,175.84. Do we need to do both of them together? And to pay the capital projects building projects abstract number 3, numbers 69 to 73, totaling $2,522.03.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Enough. Interject one quick thing. I don't know if everybody got it on the board. There's a working with and planning for agriculture meeting this Saturday. It's over in Ithaca. I just want to make sure all the board members have seen that. Check on Saturday.
Okay. Need a motion?
Did you need anything transferred?
No. What else can I do? Something I got. Stuff there.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
How are you, Doc?
Good.
I'm good.